What did the popular kid at your school do to go from cool to an absolute outcast? He got a bad haircut, was teased for it and threw a temper tantrum. He literally stormed out in the middle of class. He lost his spot as king bully after that. He got with me. For real. He was the most popular and I was the most unpopular. He was still always popular but less so after that. Now we've been together for 10. Semi-popular. Kinda preppy kid. Tried to kill his parents by pouring vodka around their bed at night and setting it on fire because they took his CDs away. Joined a gang. Moved up the ranks. Ordered the firebombing of a rival gang member's house. Dude wasn't home but his 4 little brothers and sisters were. None of them made it out of the house. He'll be in federal lockup until the day he dies. She was pretty and fairly popular and near the end of the school year told everyone she had cancer. We were approaching the end of grade 7 at the time. Eventually literally everyone knew. Teachers, other parents, other grades, etc. And it kind of united everyone who weren't typically friends and that was kind of cool. Until one day, maybe a week or 2 in, a pair of girlfriends go to visit her at her parents' house and they bring it up and discover it was a hoax. She said off a lot of people and lost all her friends after that. Gained new ones eventually. But what a goddamn weird thing to lie about. Known party girl at my school was texting while driving. She hit and killed someone crossing the street. Her father was a SGT in the police department. She went to jail for 6 months and then had to do probation community service. Not quite sure what happened after the fact. She deleted everything tied to her. This was 2 days after high school graduation. Guy got accused of RP at a party and nobody believed the girl. And people spread vicious rumors about her and sided with him. The whole thing seemed like everyone viewed him as a victim. And he played himself up that way. Until a few months later, another girl said she had been RP'd by him at a party, and multiple other people at the party saw her hysterically crying and bruised afterwards. There were not so many people supporting him after that. There was a girl that was the popular girl in school. She had all the friends and even put out an album. She was a total star locally. One day we were taking standardized tests and she runs out of the room and doesn't return. When we left the class there was green diarrhea all over the floor just down the hall from the classroom. Poor girl didn't make it to the bathroom in time. She didn't return to school that school year and moved to another town school completely after that. She married a famous NFL player and is one of these Instagram PPL now, so she bounced back from a TTY situation pretty well. PLS tell me she dating a Green Bay Packer? He got drunk and finger banged a sheep at an outdoor party. He spent the next 3 years as the sheep ducker. Edit. Everyone assumes he was Welsh or from New Zealand. This was upstate NY. You build hundreds of bridges throughout your life. And nobody calls you a bridge builder. But you ducked one goat. Graduated high school. He turned into that 30-year-old dude that still hasn't gotten over high school. She was hired to dog sit for a neighbor when they went out of town. She decided to take advantage of the empty house and throw a party at the neighbor's house that got out of hand. Neighbor's daughter also went to the school and had to deal with a messed up house. Pretty big deal, and the popular girl never came back. Wholesome for once, I guess. All popular kids in my school were complete dickheads that bullied others. This fella, king of the hill, starts dating a girl from another school that was friends with one of the bullied kids. The kid told the girl what her boyfriend does in THT school. So the girl threatened to break up with him if he didn't change his ways. He stopped socializing with the cool folks and started getting bullied by them. And none of the other kids wanted to warm up to him. He was a loner at school, but he made his GF happy and he was happy. Crack. He and his couple friends started smoking crack senior year of high school. They got quarantined to themselves. Ran into one of them a couple weeks ago. He kept trying to get me back to their apartment to do meth. Well, at least he's off the crack. He was popular because he was a rebel that talked back to teachers and insulted them openly. He became an outcast because he made the teacher everyone loved cry. Killed an infant in a car accident. Completely shut down during senior year. Wouldn't talk to anybody anymore. I had a cousin who died as a very small child because she walked out from behind two parked cars into the street out front of a church. A young man was driving to church and accidentally killed her. He never drove again. Ruined his whole life. Poor guy. Got hit by a train. Everyone cared about him until he got out of the hospital and wasn't the same mentally. From head trauma. All the other popular kids mocked him and have him blocked on social media to this day. That's messed up. Got an 8th grade girl pregnant while he was a junior in high school. He eventually transferred out because everyone hated him so much. For those not in America, that's at least a 4-year age gap. 17-year-old knocking up a 13-year-old. Well, everyone else grew up. He didn't, and doesn't seem to want to. Now it's everyone else's fault 10 years later. Most popular kid in my middle school was this big Samoan dude. Looked like he was 13 going on 25 years old. I remember he gained a lot of popularity when he serenaded this girl in class to ask her to the dance. He had music playing on his iPhone and he started belting out love songs while on bended knee. Later on that year he went from hero to zero when we found out he'd been molesting his sister. He got drunk and killed a family of 4 in a car accident. Well, the popular girl at my school tried to ruin the life of a really sweet girl because of boyfriend drama. When she realized people were standing up for the sweet girl instead, she lost her mind, accusing the other girl and her boyfriend of property damage, turning on anyone who didn't swear loyalty to her, turning people against one another, screaming at teachers. It was a mess. The nail in the coffin was when she confided to me and 2 others that she was planning to put laxatives in the pastries she baked for the class. Obviously I let people know, and she became completely ostracized. She left at the end of junior year, and senior year was the most chill year ever. I don't blame you for letting people know. You can't let that shit slide. She tried to manipulate all her friends and pit them against each other with a bunch of catty lies. Well, that in combination with wearing her pageant sash and crown to school for like a week. Guy got caught with a bunch of heroin in the trunk of his car on school grounds and was over 18 as a senior. Never saw or heard about him after that, but I'm guessing it didn't go well for him. Sent his girlfriend's naked pics to the whole school. Wow, what a scumbag. Graduated. Turns out, some learned the hard way that adulthood is not the same as high school. There was a popular cheerleader at my school that was in a bad car wreck and she suffered severe brain damage. The day she came back, some of her friends, aka the popular kids, sat with her at lunch. Every day after that though, they sat on the other side of the cafeteria in their normal spot and she was with the other special needs students. They would walk past her without saying a word. As far as everyone knew, her entire group of friends completely abandoned her. I don't think she missed them though. So silver lining. She seemed to be very happy most of the time after the accident. Not so much before. This was in the mid-late 80s. And every teen movie with a bunch of shitty creppies pretty much accurately depicts the popular kids in my HS. Killed 2 university students while drunk driving and then complained because she wouldn't be able to go to the bar and get drunk on her 18th birthday. Best answer to this happens between elementary and middle school. Our elementary was small, and we fed into a middle school with a much bigger school. Think 20% us, and 80% them. Most popular kids showed up on the first day, after only knowing what it's like to be the coolest kid in the small school, and tried to start tea with some random kid, who was with 11 of his friends, to show how cool and top dogged he was to everyone, I guess. Yeah, those 12 guys beat him up, and then made fun of him for years. He wasn't cool anymore, just that fast. By high school nobody cared anymore, but he was never really popular again. He hooked up with two of his friends' girlfriends. They ditched him after that. Edit. People are asking why the girls went along with it. This was high school, and there was a lot of partying and alcohol. No excuses. But for a lot of people, it was their first time getting drunk and completely wasted. Edit 2. One guy dumped his girlfriend for cheating but the other one didn't. I guess it was because she was his first love and childhood sweetheart. So he forgave her. Our star football player lost his full-ride football scholarship to LSU after beating his girlfriend into a coma. It's been like 8 years. But if memory serves correctly, he didn't end up going to prison or juvie because they lacked sufficient evidence. He eventually got expelled from our school because it had a zero-tolerance policy for fighting, and one of his girlfriend's friends called him out for beating her while in the hallway. He didn't like being confronted and tried to beat the shit out of the guy calling him out. Edit oh shit. This sorta blew up. Finally remembered the guy's name. There weren't any news articles directly about the incident in question. According to everything I could find, he got a lawyer very quickly and got the charges reduced. He got picked up by another major school. Not a winning one, but certainly a big one. He underperformed his freshman year and a newer recruit way outperformed him his sophomore year. So he transferred to a much smaller school. As far as I can tell, he did not come anywhere close to going pro. Also, I couldn't find out what happened to his girlfriend. I'm sorry. Dart. There was a guy that was pretty popular. He got really drunk at a party and totally didn't know where he was. He pulled down his pants, squatted and totally started to poop. He moved away immediately. He was a senior and I was in 8th grade. That was well over 25 years ago. Well, he friended me on Facebook a couple months ago and I kinda recognized him. I racked my brain and it came to me. The guy who pooped at the party. Poor guy. I mean, is nobody else going to say it? No? Alright. Jeez. What a party pooper. Call other girls SLTS because those girls were trying to tell her that her boyfriend was cheating on her. And they were right. Strangled a girl to death. That do it. She got cancer. She was a popular cheerleader and ran with the cool kids. Then she got cancer and her hair fell out from chemo and radiation treatments. The cool kids shunned her when she got sick. She beat cancer and is now a pediatrician somewhere. I hope she is living life to the fullest and enjoying every bit of it now. Girl in my middle school was really popular, but she was also super nice. I was a total outcast with a lot of problems. But she was the only person who ever treated me like a normal human being. She came out as bisexual, and got bullied so badly she had to move schools. He got caught cheating on an econ final his senior year, and instead of taking responsibility he dragged 3 other people down with him who had apparently also cheated. All 4 got in trouble. That popularity ducked with their mind and that made them lose sight of their grades. They barely graduated. Drove drunk. Ran a red light and T-boned a car making the person a vegetable. He ended up going to Juve, and then got into Oxycontin when he got out. He died of an overdose a few years after we graduated. Got blamed for a drive-by. Basically, was a star track and field sprinter and jumper as well as football player. Nice guy too. A rather typical jock type, but he got along well with virtually everyone. He was definitely popular because he was extremely athletically talented though. He took the fall for a murder he didn't commit. Almost everyone knew he was innocent. He was not a violent individual. Just tied up with the wrong crowd at the wrong time. He's gonna spend most his natural life behind bars now. A true shame. He had a bright future, and now he's a physically literal outcast from society, albeit not deserving. Somebody catfished him and was a short vid of him naked that went to a lot of people that most of us saw. Someone catfished the popular guy at my school and got him to do this crazy thing role play where one of them was a gazelle and the other was a lion eating the gazelle. It was really graphic. but not in the way you would think. He spilled some of the soapy water stuff from the bucket that holds the mop onto the floor, and the chill teacher that didn't care about whether you played games in class or not tripped and broke his right arm. Drugs. You're the cool kid in 9th grade if you're smoking weed all the time. You're not the cool kid in 12th grade if you're addicted to heroin. Good looking football jock. Very popular with the ladies. Beat the shit out of a special ed kid. He in turn got decimated by the football team, so there was justice, but that dude spent 10th 12th grade as an outcast and completely shunned. My high school class had like 1,100 kids. The school had around 3,000-ish. Popular girl did an L with a popular guy. Apparently he tore her asshole and she shat all over his DCK and had to go to the hospital. He told enough people about it that it got around and no one could think about her without thinking about her shitting on a guy's DCK. She hardly became a pariah, but she did become poop girl. Nobody's opinion of the guy changed much, which in my opinion sucks because him telling people about it was kind of haha. Shitty. There was also a very hot girl who told everyone about how she let her dog lick peanut butter off her snatch. But she was already considered to be weird as duck even before that. Was a proper decent guy and footballer. He developed a persistent knee injury which cut his youth playing career short. He was never going to be pro, but he was the best we had. He developed a dependency on pain relief and became a massive DCK to people and to his GF. Thankfully she stuck with him, and with her help and persistence he got clean and the proper sound guy missing since our childhood was returned to everyone's delight. P said off one of the other popular guys. Maybe by dating his ex-girlfriend? I can't remember exactly how, but every dude in school shut him out and he had no friends. Kinda sad because he was a decent guy and they turned on him at the slightest provocation. But that's how things were in my class. My class was known for having the meanest, cruelest cliques. We had a few substitute teachers who refused to teach our class because we were so awful. I'm glad I moved schools. That place was a nightmare. She dated me. We were in speech and debate together. Both did impromptu, and we would give each other random quotes and stupid cartoons to practice with. Spent a lot of time together because of it. We dated for about 2 days before people mocked her for it and she bailed on me hard to keep her social status. She never socially recovered from the sin of liking one of the nerds. Thing is though, she then lost all her nerd friends too. Not really outcasted, but a girl at my high school got cancer. I'm not sure exactly what type. I think it was on her lung, but I remember her talking about how it was pressing against her spine and that caused pain or motor problems or something like that. A lot of people started avoiding her after word got out. It wasn't really that they were trying to be cruel or didn't feel bad for her. It was more that it was an awkward social situation they had no experience with, and it was much easier to evade than to confront head on. None of her close friends did this, fortunately, but lots of casual acquaintance grade friends. I was an acquaintance grade friend, but I was good friends with her best friend, so we still hung out some. That's not to say anything good about me. I'm actually super avoidant of difficult situations and totally understood why people were avoiding her. I've just never felt all that uncomfortable around people with terminal illnesses for some reason. Well, he wasn't the popular kid, but he was a popular kid, and it was a weird situation. In that not everyone agrees what happened. But apparently he sold some people some drugs and told them he had gotten it from a really trusted source and they were laced with something weird, and 3 kids ended up in the hospital and one of them still has health issues because of it. Dude ate a pig's eye we were supposed to dissect for $2. This very popular, good-looking guy lied about having an affair with a female teacher whose husband was also a teacher at the school. Literally everyone hated him after the truth came out. Got caught dealing crack beside a playground and then got busted holding someone in their house at gunpoint and went to prison. Went to prison for like 9 years. Got out. His Facebook is half God redeemed Mish T and half I still deal drugs and carry guns Teich T. It's a classic American coming of age tale. I went to school with a dude who was well liked by just about everyone for the most part. Liked to party. Ended up trying to kill a girl who claimed she was pregnant after he slept with her at the senior party. He beat her so bad that her own parents did not identify her in the hospital. 20 years. He got out this year. NSFW. One kid ducked a dog for $20 US. And then after he screwed the pooch he didn't even receive payment. Homeboy ducked a dog just to do it really. The kid who reneged on the payment is the real jerk. What is zoophilic prostitution without honor? Football player. Had his cronies hold a freshman kid down so he could teabag him. Kid reported it. Got him expelled. And rightfully so. Just a few weeks ago everyone went to a party. I assumed he was drunk but he shed on a table. Not a folding one. A $1,000 wood dining table in someone's house. In front of everyone. He got chlamydia from someone who wasn't his girlfriend. When I was a kid my best friend had a popular older sister who was a junior in high school on the varsity cheerleading team. A party got busted that the whole team was at. When it came out, the school kicked every girl off the squad and banned them from extracurriculars. But took no action against boys from the football team that were at the same party. Her dad was a lawyer and sued the school over it on behalf of all the girls. They didn't even win but the rest of the school hated her for trying to get the football team in trouble. It was a small community and there was a lot of bad blood over it. Her dad ended up moving so that she and her brother who was a freshman could live with him and go to another school. We were in elementary school when it happened and my friend stayed with her mum. By the time we got to high school it had blown over, but the separation was hard on her family and her parents got divorced. He kept going on about being a golden god and how we were all his minions. He took someone's brand new iPad and threw it at Rem 3 like a frisbee which knocked out a couple teeth and obliterated the iPad. He seduced a quiet girl in school. She was really soft spoken but super nice to everyone. Basically everyone's little sister. She was absolutely beloved by everyone in her year. And he was a year older. He was her first love. And he ducked her once. Took her virginity. And then essentially abandoned her. She was devastated by it. And it broke her for the rest of the time she was at school. She went right into her shell and barely spoke to anyone. When he started bragging about what he did, everyone hated him. He even got beat up a few times because people were so angry at what he did. That really is messed up, but it's so wholesome that your school came together to stand up for this girl. 9 of them actually. Who all cheated constantly for 4 years to get flawless GPAs. And became the top 10 of our class. They also all got into prestigious universities. The high school I went to was extremely academically competitive. So needless to say when the top 10 were announced, everybody was livid. Especially the kids who should have been top 10. Including my friend who was the 15th ranked. Only the unpopular salutatorian earned her grades honestly. And she got the loudest applause at graduation. You may ask, did they ever get caught? Number. We all saw them cheat. There was an underground test answers dealer at my school, believe it or not. But nobody took it seriously all those years. Also, honestly, because most students were cheating themselves and did not want to lose their source of answers by ratting someone out. The academic pressure at my school was that high. By the time these kids were top 10 and had been accepted to college, they slacked off. So when people finally reported them, there was never any proof that they cheated.